Hello, everybody. Welcome or welcome back to Raven's Escape Crafts. I'm Sue, your host, and if you're new here, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. Here we talk about all kinds of stuff. Sometimes we talk about yarn. That's the basis of this channel, and we talk about yarn and crochet, but we also talk about all kind of other stuff, and that's what's going to happen today. So let's get to it. So I'm your host, Sue. I put my sweater on today. My hair is an absolute mess. I had a bit of a rough week, so we're just gonna wear my sweater. I made this one a little while ago. So we're gonna talk about a bunch of stuff today. Thank you for joining me. So, all right, let's start out. We always start out with crafting. This way, if people are here for the crafting and don't want to hear the other stuff, they can turn it off if they want to. But let's start off with crafting. So what have I finished this week? Hold on, let me show you. Come on a trip quick. All right, so a friend of mine bought this ottoman. Oh, my walker's in the way. And it had this horrible cover on it. Excuse my walker and the TV on. And she wanted to know if I could do another cover for it. So let me show you. That's the cover I made for it. Here I am. Let me put you back on your stand. Try to not put my hand in the way. So she asked me if I could make a cover for it, and I wanted to talk about that a little bit today because I see this a lot in crochet groups and stuff like that. So, I see a lot of, especially newer crocheters and even some like older crocheters that always need a pattern. And there's nothing wrong with that. Let me start out with that. But my friend, she had bought this ottoman. She got it at a yard sale, cheap. It had this ugly, I should have taken pictures of it before I started on it. But it had this like ugly, she said crochet cover. It wasn't. It was some sort of, it was knit. And it was like this like rope. It was like a gray rope. And I'm not going to say it was ugly. Because, I mean, I'm sure it was in the right setting. It probably looked okay. But I'm not trying to put down somebody else. But they used this like thick rope. I mean, when I say thick rope, I mean like this big around. And so the knitting around the outside looked really nice. They did. It looked nice. I liked the way it looked. But then they knit the top, and because it was such a thick rope, I'm trying to be nice, okay? It was such a thick rope, and their stitching was not the best. I don't quite even know how they did it. It looked sloppy. So, I mean, like I said, there was nothing wrong with it, but it looked a little messy. And so she asked me to make that. So I made that. And now, this is what I want to talk about. This is the crafty part of the video. So, crafting. Woo. So, here's what I want to talk about just a little bit. Was, like, I see a lot of people on a lot of the, like, the crafting groups, TikTok, blah, 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 saying, like, I need a pattern. And I get that. And as beginner, you know, yes, you kind of do need a pattern a little bit. Till you learn how things work, how to make stuff. And some people use patterns their entire lives, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not that kind of person. I'm more, not to say that I don't ever use a pattern, because I do, sort of, because I don't really read patterns. I do use YouTube videos a lot of times. And there's tons of really good ones out there, which is why I don't do tutorials. I feel like there's so many really good YouTube tutorial creators out there. That is not my forte. I could try to do some of the stuff that I don't see going on out there, which is the stuff I do, which is how to create your own pattern. But I'm not interested in, interested in creating products and selling products, not creating patterns and selling that. I'm just not. I'm not great at reading them. I don't even know where to begin to attempt to write a pattern. And like I said, there are so many good. If anybody ever needs a suggestion where to start, if you want to start crocheting, if you're an advanced crocheter, where to look for good patterns from people, there are so many good YouTube tutorial. I'm sorry, guys. Oh, YouTube tutorial creators out there that do such an amazing job. I mean, there are some who are like off, like a whole level, like Mikey from Crochet Crowd. If you're looking for somebody who is really good at explaining things, shows you really good, in-depth, step-by-step tutorials on some of the most complicated things, he is amazing. He has great beginner patterns. He has great intermediate patterns. He is great. Oh my God. Like, I would never attempt advanced patterns, okay? And not that I couldn't do his advanced patterns, but there's so much to his advanced patterns, and I don't love a fiddly project like that. I just don't. But they're gorgeous. They're gorgeous, and if that's something you like, absolutely recommend. Crystal from Bag of Day. Cinnamon Stitches does some really good tutorials. I love Juan the Yarn Addict. He does really good tutorials. Oh, and Fiber Spider. Amazing tutorials. And all of them have beginner-friendly, intermediate, and advanced patterns. You know, depending what you want to do. You know, everybody's different in their art, and crochet is art. So, whatever kind of thing. I mean, from most of them have like basic ones like washcloths and things like that. Now, I don't do, we've talked about this before, I don't really do amigurumi, so I don't really have a whole lot of suggestions. Although Cinnamon Stitches does have some amigurumi patterns as well. And Crystal from Bag of Day has done a few, but again, she's like me, she doesn't do a lot of that. But, but what I wanted to get to, now that I rambled for 5 minutes, is if you need something like a cover for like this ottoman, okay? First off, if you want to take on a project like that, you have to be under the understanding that you need to be a little patient with it, okay? Because it is a custom thing for a custom piece of furniture. There's not going to be a pattern per se. So let's just put that. Sorry, my legs are. I'm wiggling the phone. I know I am. So you kind of have to have a basic understanding of how crochet works. Especially if it's something round like this, because round can be a little funky if you've never done round before. Not to say beginners couldn't do it. I'm just going to say you're going to have a little more trouble with it. It might not be what you don't want it to be your first project. Let's just put it that way, because you'll never crochet again. Start with something simpler. But if you want to, you know, the easiest way to do it is learn how to, like, this is, okay, like for this, I'm going to explain it in the way of this crochet ottoman. You can take this on to other things. So, learn how to make a circle. Like, this ottoman is round, so I need to make a circle. If it's a square, if it's a rectangle, learn how to make that. Shapes are not that hard. Circles are probably the hardest, but basic crochet, if you're doing a double crochet, is like you do around a circle, you do your slip knot or magic circle, okay? And then you do, like, if you either do a magic circle or you do a slip knot and then chain 4 or 5 depending on the size of your yarn, right? And then you do, for double crochet, you want to do 12 double crochets into your circle, into your either your chain circle or your magic circle. Pull, tie off, okay? and then start going around. So it's a pretty simple thing. So you want to do like your 12 single crochets. So then your next round will be 12 double crochets. And then you want to do 2 double crochets in each single crochet. So the next round you end up with 24 double crochets. Okay. Then the next round you start skipping. You do 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets in each space. And it works out from there. So the next one you do 2 double crochets, 2 in one space. 2 single double crochets, and then 2 in one space. The next one will be 3 single double crochets, and then, and out and out and out. And that'll make your flattest circle you can make. Sometimes it won't look 100% flat, but trust me, it'll turn flat at the end. So what you want to do is, don't do like me. Have your piece of furniture close by. Make some circles. Lay it on the top. Okay, we still need to go further. Do some rounds, lay it on the top. Wait until you get your top matches the top of your piece of furniture, for the most part. It could be a little slightly over, slightly under. That's not going to make a big difference. By like a half a row, you know what I mean? And then just stop increasing. So for this whole time you've been increasing, you know what I mean, by doing those 2 double crochets in one spot. So if now you want the straight sides like I got, you just stop increasing and your project's naturally going to turn and go straight down. It's the same when you make a basket and things like that. And again, the easiest way is to keep the item right with you so that you can constantly be trying it on. It's the same way you would make a dress or put together any other piece of clothing. I mean, the easiest way to do clothing, say like dressmakers, they build the dress on the form. So, and then adjust it to the person, you know what I mean? Like a dressmaker doesn't make a dress, like they don't just cut fabric and sew it together. They have a dressmaking form that they literally like drape the fabric on and pin it to to see where they need to sew it. And then even after it's finished, they take it off and they adjust it when they try it on the person. You have the item, use it, you don't have to sit and create a cover and then try it on. That's the best way to do it. It's also the best way, like, I know I see a lot of people making like form-fitting, like a lot of people make halter tops, bra tops, even like short skirts, and then or dresses, and they finish them and they're like, oh my God, they're so big, or even sweaters and stuff like that. Don't ever hesitate if you're making it for yourself or you have the person who you're making it for. Keep them around or keep trying it on. You're because the cool part about being able to create something like this is if you're making it for yourself, you can customize it for yourself. That's part of the benefit of making yourself something. And because, like, even if you're going by a pattern and you're not freehanding it, and again, that's fine. But you can, all right, let's start with free. If you want to freehand like your own, like, top, that's amazing because you have the dress form, which is you, at hand at any moment in time. So, like, if you want to know where to put the boobs, your boobs are right here to put them to measure, or how, what size chest you have, or where you want it to, like, be on your belly. Is it going to be too tight? Is it going to be loose enough? Is it going to be too loose? All these things. Arm length, okay? That is one of the best parts to me about being able to make your own thing, is because I, as a tall person, have struggled my entire life with long sleeves, okay? Long, and pants as well. Pants and long sleeves, okay? Like, and I love the fact that I can create a sleeve whatever length I need. I think I put this on inside out. That's okay. I can create a sleeve length I need, but also if you're someone who's shorter, who's, whatever, I can create you a sweater that has a shorter sleeve, has, whatever length you need. I love that about creating my own sweaters, my own clothing, my own crochet stuff that I can make, because I can customize it. Like I said, as a tall girl, you don't know how many times I have bought a nice top that fits me perfectly. And when I go like this, it's like all the way up here, When I worked in an office, let me tell you, trying to get dress clothes for a tall woman is, especially a tall, curvy woman, is near impossible. They don't make, obviously, you need to wear nice slacks. Slacks are all too short. It's so hard to find tall. I mean, it's a little easier now, but especially years back, it was so hard to find tall plus size slacks. Oh my God. Tall slacks was hard enough. And then you go into plus sizes, forget it. And then, and jackets. Okay. I didn't always wear a blazer, and we didn't have to wear, I worked in an office, not I wasn't a lawyer or something. So, but obviously in the wintertime, we wore either a nice cardigan or a sweater or a jacket. And of course, a lot of times I wore a jacket because I was always wandering around the dealerships because I did a lot of IT stuff as well as office work. But I needed to look, or even when I was working out in the sales department, of course I needed to look nice because I was working in sales department, but I was also going around to dealerships dealing with other stuff. So it was chilly. I mean, obviously I didn't want to put a winter jacket on all the time. And then again, too, working in an office with women, some days the temperature is hot because everybody's frozen. And then sometimes it's cold because, somebody else gets their way. But the lady I worked with, my boss was going through menopause. So some days it was absolute, roasting in there, 80 some degrees because she was frozen. And then she's having a hot flash. Next thing you know, we got the freaking air on in January. It's so it was always good to have some sort of a cover, and trying to find a jacket for a tall woman is so hard because and take the plus size out of it, just a tall woman, because everything you buy, you get this nice tailored jacket and sleeves here. As soon as you put your arms out, sleeves here. It might be kind of okay when you have your arms at the desk, but the minute, it sucked. So I appreciate a good sleeve. You know what I'm saying? The one that actually gets to my wrist. And I run into that with a lot of women's tops. In fact, absolutely, for years, refused to buy long sleeve shirts. Absolutely refused. I would only buy short sleeve or sleeveless. And just because I hate feeling like your clothes aren't fitting right, you know what I mean? And I hate when your sleeves are too short, it doesn't look right. It looks like you're not, people judge you for it. You know what I mean? Oh, where'd she get that at? It doesn't fit her. So, yeah. Ugh. So that's just, so again, the point of all this crafting is use your models, use your people, use your furniture, use whatever you are going to be making something for. Do not be afraid to adjust things, because last thing I want to say is I see a lot of times people will buy a pattern, okay? And it's like, of course, a lot the good pattern makers, when they sell a sweater, a jacket, whatever kind of clothing, they'll sell it in. They don't sell the pattern different, but in the pattern, it'll have like, this is for a size small now, and then parentheses, 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 all the way up to sometimes, a lot of times 5X at this point. Or they start at child size and go all the way up to 5X. Which is the nice part about, again, making custom things. You can do all the sizes. But then I see people complaining all the time on social media about, like, well, I made the extra large pattern for myself because I wear an extra large, and now look at it, it's so loose, or look at it, the sleeves are too long, but again, that's, you can go buy, say you wear a large t-shirt, or a large shirt, let's say. I can go buy a large shirt here, and it'll fit me. I'll buy a large shirt over here, and it's too tight. I'll buy a large shirt over here, and it's like super loose. Large is a size is approximate, and don't get it. We all know pants, especially for women, like a 14, a 14, a 14, a 12, a 12, a 10, a 10. I mean, you have to try them on because they can be so wildly different. Men's sizes are a little better because they actually measure in inches. So like a 34-inch waist is like a 34-inch waist. But women with our like weird, sizing, you never know. You just never know. So, all right. So on to the rest of our discussion today. All right, let me pause it for a second. All right. So, the rest of the video, life updates. Not a whole lot. This week was just kind of, kids had band practice all week. Of course, they get out earlier than they did for work, so I really didn't get any time to myself this week. My aide was here all week. The only one thing I want to say about that is on the ongoing thing. Now, I can't get another care agency without my coordinator from my county health insurance thing. She coordinates that. I've asked her 3 times now to get me a different agency because I'm unhappy with this agency. But she talks to them and they tell her I'm fine. And then she believes them and she doesn't listen to me, which is very frustrating. And now I don't want to ask for another coordinator before anybody says that, because I've heard some of the other coordinators and they are way worse. So, no. This one at least handles some stuff. The funny part about all this is, so my aide came in a little late yesterday because she had an appointment, which she had told them about prior, which that was a whole nother thing. And then the agency shorted her some hours, which is honest to God, like every aide I've had has talked about them shorting them hours. And it's wild. It's just wild that they get away with this. And they feel like they have these people, need this money and they can't fight them too hard on it. It's wild. It's wild. So she was upset yesterday. She called them to complain about her paycheck, and they completely cut her off and told her, no, you can't call us while you're at a client's house. But they're not in after she leaves here, so she can't call them afterward. So she was upset. And then, but she was making up her hours, so she actually was supposed to stay till 3:30 yesterday. She had to go in the morning for a doctor appointment. And then in the afternoon, the funny part was my coordinator calls me in the afternoon. And she's like, I got a call from your medical supply place, which, long story short, they get me medical supplies, sort of, okay? They were supposed to from the get-go, get me medical, like actual medical supplies when I had the wounds on my feet and things like that. That did not happen. In fact, they denied most everything that I was supposed to get. Now, God bless wound care, okay? Because when I went to wound care, they set me up with a different medical supply place that they ordered things from, and they sent them. So I did get most of my wound care supplies covered. Once I started going to wound care, they handled that paperwork, and I did get stuff covered. But the things that I'm supposed to get, all I get is, I was supposed to get like a whole plethora of stuff. And including like those like disposable pads to put underneath. Not that I need them for accidents or anything. And nothing wrong if you do. But because my feet were infected and oozing and things. Ew, I TMI. Ew, I know. So that I could have them underneath me for reasons, so that it wasn't gross, you know. They denied all that, okay? So all I get from them is I get gloves and I get these wipes to use like instead of a bath. Now I don't necessarily need the wipes. The gloves are handy. I will not lie. The gloves come in a lot of handy. I will take the gloves all day long. I mean, obviously, my aides use the gloves for cleaning the bathroom, for cleaning up stuff, you know. They use them all the time. But we also use them for, because, like, I guess I have a wound again, and the stuff I have to put on is bleach. So, and of course, obviously, doing wound care, wash your hands, putting gloves on is, like, the best thing to do. So you don't get secondary infection of something, so or a new infection of stuff. So I'll take the gloves all day long. We use the gloves. I use the gloves. I use the gloves for this powder I'm supposed to use because it's medicated, and I know I could just wash my hands after I use it, but it's so much easier just to put a glove on, wash my hands, put the glove on, use the powder, wash my hands, and my hands don't smell like that powder the rest of the day. Stuff like that. And the wipes, to be honest with you, I mean, they're handy. I don't use them to wash up, you know. I'm not using them for like a bed bath, but they are nice. Like if you feel a little, I mean, I'm in like perimenopause, you know, sometimes I feel like I smell a little funky halfway through the day. A little touch up is nice, you know. I mean, I'm still washed up every morning, but sometimes you don't feel so fresh, you know. And the best part is when you have your period, you know, they really come in handy for freshening things up a little bit when you're feeling a little ugh. So I mean, I use them. I use them all the time. Hell, I mean, I've even gotten them out like my husband makes ribs from time to time, and I'm like, here, have a wipe, wipe your face, wipe your hands, because they're, the nice thing is, on like, they give, sometimes, like, if you go out, they give you those little towelettes, but these are, like, nice because they're pH balanced, and they have aloe in them, but they're also cleansing, so they don't, like, some of those wipes, like, really dry you out and stuff like that, where these are not like that, you know what I mean? They're more like they're a cleansing wipe, so, they're nice for that, too. Stuff like that, so we do use those a lot, but the people, but they're really annoying. The place, like, they call every month and they go, where are you, can you confirm this? Can you confirm that? Confirm your this, confirm your address. We're sending you this. It's like, and they're, they call you every month and they're really annoying. And it's like, it's a longer phone call that just seems like it needs to be just to say, yes, send me my supplies again this month. And now my phone doesn't even ring when they call. I just get the voicemail. I get the doot and my voicemail. So it's like a spam call. Well, and then I have to call them back. So I don't almost feel like calling them back. So So this month I've been really bad about it because I'm so salty about all this other stuff and things I've talked about in all these other videos. And so I've been putting off calling him back. And it's one of those things where you're like, oh, I'll call him back tomorrow. I'll call him back tomorrow. Well, I haven't called him back. So I can't believe I'm going to tell this story so long. So we go to... So my coordinator calls yesterday and she's like, I had to talk to your medical supply people and they're really annoying. I'm like, yeah, I know. She's like, well, I authorized your shipment, but you need to answer the phone from now on. Like, yeah, well, you need to change my care agency, but you don't want to do that either, do you? So she called me to give me crap and then set up my... I was gonna talk to her again about the care agency, but she's coming here on September 2nd. So... to meet with me again in my house. So I'm like, well, I'll just talk to her on September 2nd. And when she's stuck in my house and not on the phone, I can complain to her all I want to. So we'll do that. All right. And then the last thing I want to talk about before I let you guys go, because I know it's already been 30 minutes. I also wanted to send prayers out to Mama Michaela. If you watch her, I don't know if any of you do. That poor woman has been through it with her health. My goodness. Ugh. You know, I mean, I complain about my health, but my God, she has been through it and she's in the hospital again. This is, 3 weeks now, and she's only been home for a couple of days. Ugh. And she just came home and now she's back in the hospital. She just came home Thursday. She went back in the hospital on Friday. So, sending out a little prayer to her. You know, and Big Daddy, her husband. Oh my God. You know, that poor man is going through it. So I want to send out a little prayer to her and her family that everything turns out okay with her and she gets better. All right. And then I also want to send a little shout out and a prayer to one of my followers who has been going through a little bit of issues lately, and I want to send some good vibes her way and some calming thoughts, and hopes that she can start to feel a little better too. Just want to send that out there to the universe on my video so she knows who she is. And then last thing I want to talk about, my thing that I have been obsessed with since last weekend is this Lindsay Clancy trial. And I could do another whole hour and a half video on this, and I'm not going to. But have any of you guys been watching this? So here's the funny thing. I love me a good trial, okay? I mean, I just find them fascinating. And I started watching this last week on Friday. I didn't even know it was on. And then I binge watched the first whole week last weekend and got through all that. And now I'm on current. So I'm watching it live every day. So I also got my aide into it. She likes true crime. She didn't know this trial was going on. If you know anything about this, it's a woman. They have the whole thing on YouTube. You can watch the trials. I've been watching it. She unalived her children. Okay, all three of her children. I've been watching all kind of stuff on this. So she claims she has. You make the decision. Postpartum psychosis is what she's blaming for doing this to her kids. She took them down into the basement, tied exercise bands around their necks, and left them and suffocated them, is what happened. And then went upstairs to her bedroom with a butcher knife or a kitchen knife and sort of cut herself with it. Not real bad though, on her wrists and her throat, and then threw herself out the second story window. Now, I've been watching, there's a million opinions on this online, okay? But I've been watching the trial since like day one. Well, I mean, obviously, I caught back up. I haven't been watching it live, but I've seen the whole thing so far. And, you know, it's fascinating. I agree. I don't quite understand why they're doing this like a trial, because she's admitted she did it. It's only whether was mentally competent to what she did. So basically, this is not like a if she's innocent she's going home kind of trial. This is are we sending her to a prison, or are we sending her to a mental institution, a locked mental institution for probably the rest of her life either way. I don't know why we're doing a whole trial on that, I guess. But it's interesting still. I mean, true crime wise, if you like true crime. And the funny part is, I got my aide into it too, right? So she's caught up, I'm caught up. And we've been watching it live and then she's like, oh, I shouldn't be just sitting here watching TV with you. And I'm like, hey, like half of what you're supposed to be doing is just companionship, and I want somebody to talk to this trial. So you need to sit and watch the trial with me. So she's been doing that. And like I said, it's not like there's not like a ton of stuff for her to do all the time. You know, she cleans the whole kitchen, she cleans the bathroom, she vacuums. I mean, but other than that, like, she's only supposed to do stuff where I'm only in the living room, kitchen, and bathroom. You know, and she keeps those immaculately clean. You know, she vacuums. I don't think my carpet and my bathroom have been this clean ever. You know, she scrubs the heck out of that bathroom for 20 minutes a day. It doesn't, I mean, let me tell you something. When we moved in here 21 years ago, this sink, I mean, it's a fine sink. There's nothing wrong with it, so we won't replace it. It has like some scratches a little bit on it, and it had a little bit of like discoloration from the hard water, okay? That I have never been able to get off. I've, not that I put the most effort in the entire world into it, because it's clean. It looks clean. It is clean. There's like, so like there's the sink bowl part, which is clean. It's always been clean. But then around the counter is the same like real light tan creamy color, okay? And along the edge, there's like a little rim, and it has a little bit of discoloration along that edge, right? And the sink itself, you know, I always got it. It's clean. It looks clean and stuff, but it was never like shiny anymore. Like from the hard water, it's really hard to maintain. And it just gets a little bit of hard water on it. So it's not that it's not clean. I mean, it's clean. I always clean it. I clean it all the time. But let me tell you, it has not looked like that since before we moved in this house. She has that. I mean, it is bright and sparkly and shiny and white and oh my, you know. And she has scrubbed this bathroom within a light inch of its life, you know, and it looks amazing. So I don't know how she does it. I do, because she has time to really, you know, when you're trying to work, take care of kids, take care of the house, you know, I'm not going to spend 20 minutes every day scrubbing a bathroom sink. You know, it's just not going to happen, you know. It's clean. It's disinfected. It don't look bad. You know, it used to get a little bit of discoloration, again, from the hard water. So a couple times a year, I would put like a harder cleaner on it and get the discoloration off and soak it and scrub it real good. But like, come on, like, let's face it. Those of us working, you know, I was working 2-3 jobs, and then before I had the kids, and then once you have kids, You know, you just want to make sure that there's not going to be germs and it looks fairly, you know. Now, good Lord. Good Lord. She has done miracles. But yeah, so we've been watching True Crime and we've been watching the Lindsay Clancy trial and talking about it. So I'd love to know if you guys are watching it. Are you obsessed as I am? Are you like, I was so disappointed. Again, I know why they did it. They can't have court every day. It's too much. People need time to get stuff together, other things to do. But they didn't have court yesterday. And yesterday I'm like, what am I going to do with myself? But it was a busy day, so I didn't really have to worry about that too much. I dealt with, because Todd's aunt called me in the morning because they're taking the kids away next weekend for a little trip before school starts, like right before school starts. They're going to go away, so she wanted to call and like finalize all the plans for that and then talk about some other stuff. So I was on the phone with her for a while, and she's always a good time to talk to. Oh, I gotta go. All right, so thank you all for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. I love you all. I said I appreciate everything you guys do. Do something nice for yourself today. I really, truly enjoy talking to you guys. And as always, choose love every day. Bye.